Altcoin market is dumping. Binance is selling all of the crypto assets right now. Previous cycle, at the peak at top, OKX exchange significantly decreased marketing investments into certain regions out there, which marked the top. So today we're figuring out whether or not we actually have topped. Maybe I was wrong for all this time, alt season is not happening. I'm actually switching bearish myself. I was wrong on so many things recently. But yet, there are still coins in the market that are doing quite alright. So, we're talking about the current situation, we're talking about where the upside is currently at the end of the video. Less than 10% of you are going to watch till the end of the video. I will actually give you a gem, Ethereum meme coin that I think might actually be doing very, very well with a short-term catalyst as well. But you would have to watch till the end, or you can scroll and try to find it at the end, but just watch. It probably would be better, you'll be receiving more value, right? Consider pressing the like button on this video, and without further ado, let's start. And here's what we are starting with, Benjamin Coven. Just because it is taking longer than normal for alt BTC pairs to go to the range lows does not mean it will not happen. I still think it is the most likely outcome. This is a very, very interesting chart that definitely puts a lot of fear into myself at this stage. This is the chart of total 3, which are your altcoins. And what you're seeing here is that in the previous cycles, before the alt season of 2018, before the alt season of 2021, what actually happened is that alts reached the local bottom. In 2021, we even have seen the deviation below these levels. And since then, we have seen the altcoin run, which definitely makes sense because you have to understand that the time period over which they are reaching these bottoms is quite a significant one. So anyone actually is selling. Everyone is liquidated on leverage. And one of the issues that I'm seeing in this market is that I'm still longing. When we had the altcoin pump back in September, October, I didn't care about altcoin longs at that stage, because I got liquidated in August and then we actually created a new low. But right now I'm still longing. Probably this is actually the indicator, the metric that you can use. If I'm still longing, if I'm still alive, probably means that we're not reversing any time soon, right? Moving further into the current picture, what we can see here, this is how this chart looks like currently. It actually has a proper move down to make till this bottom. But the very interesting situation I actually want us to focus on, at least on the Bitcoin chart, right? So what happened a year ago? A year ago, we were actually in January 2024, and this top, this local top, actually was not the approval of Bitcoin ETF. This was the start of trading of BTC ETF. And what we can see after is that we had a dip. Bitcoin dumped from $49,000 to $38,000, which showed a 21% dip essentially, and we only started to recover almost after a month from there, right? So from the top on January 11th till 8th of February, and I would say even till more concrete sign of reversal, it definitely was a month since then. I do remember this situation, meme coins were dead, WIF was dead at that stage of time, and people just thought that, yeah, it was just a short-term pump, nothing is happening, and they were essentially leaving this space and selling the assets that they were accumulating, right? The situation right now that I'm seeing is essentially we had our top on January 20th, exactly on the time of inauguration of Trump, right? And I would say that around the same time frame we're already spending in this dip at this stage. It's only 12% BTC dip, but again, I do believe that BTC is stronger due to ETF, and at that time, essentially it was only the start of BTC ETF trading. So definitely way more funds, way more companies, way more institutions, way more wealthy individuals are actually sitting in this asset at this stage. And time-wise, we can see that we are 36 days in already, which is definitely more. It's definitely more than previously, right? And the current situation is quite tough, to be honest with you. Like, emotional-wise, money-wise, it's crazy. It's crazy to sit through this dip at this stage. We just have to hope that at a certain point of time, it will eventually end. Following the timings and things like that, all the alt seasons, they essentially were started in February. Obviously, we only have 1 week left. It's not even like 1 week left. I would say it's 5 days from these levels. The lowest I'm seeing us going this week is 94.7k BTC, which should probably be happening quite soon, maybe today and tomorrow. And I do think that this week we should be seeing Ethereum above $2,900 as well, which is essentially put us somewhere right here, which would mean that we are finally breaking above this giant range, right? And I'm not sure and no one is sure what will be happening right after. This is essentially just something I'm seeing. So let's see what would be happening with this dip. But yeah, it's definitely painful at this stage. Despite that, there is still a lot of opportunity in this marketplace. And right now we'll actually be going through the things that are pumping, the things that are in the top of the mindshare, the things that you actually would be able to make money on and save your portfolios on if you are participating in them at this stage. Because you have to understand, when the situation in the marketplace is like this, people are looking for the safe haven. And what they're making often, what they're doing, they're essentially selling out of the assets that are down and they're buying into something that is pumping right now, which kind of causes the thing that is pumping to pump even more, which from my point of view is definitely wrong behavior. But people are so emotional at this stage. People want to trade at this stage. Yeah, it's crazy. The situation that is created on this market right now and everything in connection with stocks actually pumping, stocks being an all-time high. This is absolute madness right now. But we have to keep going or just don't care. And a lot of crypto market participants, they definitely don't care at this stage, which I think is actually a winning strategy. They just sit in the things that they wanted to sit in, or they're just sitting in stables and just waiting for the market to turn up and for some things to become clear again, and maybe they're just stably accumulating some assets, not given any fucks. This is the ranking of recent blockchains out there, and we can definitely see that Sonic is climbing higher and higher at this stage, and we will definitely be talking about Sonic today. I will give you several gems that I think are definitely worth looking into, and some entry points for this coin as well, because right now it's definitely outperforming the market. Sonic ecosystem is generating $800 million in 24 hours revenue, which is more than combined revenue of Avalanche, Suyo, and Polygon, which is quite crazy to say by itself. And very soon we will essentially have the kickoff of Ethereum Denver, which my meme coin actually wanted to share is highly connected to this event. Maybe this thing is actually going to save my portfolio. Let's see. So there should be some news coming out on Ethereum Denver, because essentially they made it EVM compatible, almost like a layer 2 out there, right? So we would be waiting for some updates. I do believe some updates definitely going to be there. Here's the current chart of Sonic, and we can see that the previous all-time high was at $3, and right now the situation is definitely quite bullish for this thing in order to be able to break through the all-time high. I would be sharing some targets, something around $10 per one Sonic token out there. You have to be careful with these things because it's definitely not doing it by itself. It can keep continuing to outperform for some time in the market, right? But it will need the whole overall market to come back. What we are seeing currently is that a lot of inflows that we are seeing in the Sonic ecosystem, they're actually coming out of Solana ecosystem. So maybe at a point of time, Solana will recover, bounce back, and all this money are going to flood back in. Although I do think that it's not happening anytime soon. I do think the time to be buying back into Solana might be somewhere around April of this year. Again, following time-based analysis. Sonic will be entering a top 10 TVL, total value locked, quite soon, and it definitely will be flipping things like Avalanche and Optus. But the market cap of Sonic is way lower than these assets at this stage. So maybe a repricing is actually just coming for the Sonic coin itself as well. If we would compare the market cap of Sonic to the market cap of AVAX, we can see that it actually has to do 11, almost 12x's to reach the market cap of AVAX, which at this stage kind of seem possible, but you have to understand some things as well, is that when things are bullish, it means that the upside that is essentially left in the tank is not equal that the upside that is left in the tank for something that's bearish, for example, at this stage. We do have AVAX, we do have the narrative of real world assets for AVAX, we do have the gaming narrative out there, and definitely the upside that is left in the tank for AVAX is higher at this stage in comparison to Sonic, because Sonic thesis is getting adopted on the marketplace. So these are some things that we just have to be careful about. I'm just showing that once it will be flipping the TVL of AVAX, it might be logical for it to essentially at least come closer to the market cap of AVAX, the coin as well. Very interesting thing that actually was preaching on my channel for quite some time is that with different ecosystems, you should always follow the developers, you should always follow the TVL, you should always be following leading metrics on the marketplace, which then transfer into the lagging metrics. One of my videos, I was actually sharing that Sonic TVL did 2 to 4x, and that was like the price of Sonic at that stage was below 30 cents. Even me, I actually faded it. I actually mid-curved this thing. Imagine this, right? but this was the right thing to notice, and this was the right thing to do to essentially long and buy this asset as well. I miss this personally, but what we're seeing currently is that essentially TVL is rocking up, on-chain metrics are rocking up, which means that the price of the coin will eventually be catching up as well. It's just a big question at this stage: what is the upside? What is the limit for the price of Sonic out there? And I would say that naturally it will be dictated by the market. However, if Solana will continue to not do this well, all of this digital liquidity is going to get somewhere. Right now, like, we're still in no man's land where any blockchain with proper implementation can actually be taken over. Insane, right? We can also see that Sonic the coin is up 70% on the last 7 days. TVL is also up. TVL is at $700 million, and volume is quite nice as well. And on Sonic, actually, similar to Blast. On Sonic, 90% of developer fees are actually going back to devs. So they're definitely incentivizing builders to come to the chain. And Sonic the chain is quite popular, I would say, for the on-chain Ponzi's at this stage. And all of these transaction fees, they're actually going back to the developers. Sonic the chain are not farming them, which is definitely something that was copied from Blast, but Blast unfortunately was not successful on this one, and Sonic is rocking the world right now. Let's see what will be happening for this ecosystem moving further. So I was giving you several setups in terms of Sonic already, and I think the first time I started to talk about the coin was around 0.3, 0.4. However, if you would want to be entering currently, green line is, I would say it's the most recent support zone. It's definitely not a very strong one, right? Because it's very easy for us to currently break through it as well. The proper support zone is around 0.52 bucks. In terms of the entries, you might be looking for entries at around 0.7 if we're going there. Might be even long entries with low leverage. And once you're seeing the confirmation we're breaking out, you would essentially be able to increase and add some size into your position as well. And the best type of entry is 0.52. Hard to say if we're actually going there. We're probably going there if the market is going to become really bearish right now, like Ethereum going to like back to 2K or something, right? Or essentially if market will just continue, stay in the chop, and the hype from Sonic will fade away. People will stop occurring, and this would be the time to essentially be buying into this asset. Although from my point of view, the only entry that you're going to get at this stage is this short-term one. So it's definitely not an investment entry, it's a trading entry. Shadow, which is the main DEX on Sonic, right now it is actually at number 4 in terms of the holders revenue at this stage. It's close to PancakeSwap, which is the DEX on BNB, and Idrom is just after it, which is essentially the DEX on Base. Quite crazy because it definitely just went into it recently. So, and I was talking about Shadow, I think, at around $30 million market cap in one of my videos last week as well. The best entry point for Shadow might be $50 per coin, although it's quite hard to say if we're actually going to reach these levels because they're definitely at the bottom. I would say that the only way we are there, again, if the market is becoming very short term, or if people just stop caring about Sonic ecosystem, which definitely should be happening at a certain point of time. We do have small support around $100 level, which is also quite nice psychological level, I would say, to be entering into these assets as well. And right now we definitely have some liquidity packed here as well. So if you're looking to enter into this asset, 130, 100 bucks, around 100 bucks, and around 50-60 bucks as your last target, right? But if you're going lower, yeah, this would just probably mean that we will be spending quite some time at this stage. If we would essentially recover from this level, it's a high chance that we'll be seeing another leg up. And following this chart, I just would say from my end that it seems like we should be seeing another final leg up at least. One lower cap gem that you might actually look at on Sonic as well is Sinus, right? Although, yeah, the best entry point would be somewhere around $9 million. I doubt that you will be having a chance to enter this lower. Again, only if we are becoming bearish or if people will just stop caring about Sonic the ecosystem. It's an upcoming DEX. The thing I like here on this chart is that liquidity is quite thin in comparison to a market cap, which means that it will probably be easier to push this coin as well. But again, it did 5x from yesterday. So I would say that, yeah, as well as the chart of Shadow, both of these charts, they just look like they want to print another leg up higher. So this leg up is definitely going to be way more profitable for the current holders, for people that were able to get at the bottoms and they're just holding at this stage, right? However, if you would be entering, you might be looking into swing trades setups, and as mentioned, somewhere around $9 million market cap should be a nice entry for you if you would be planning to enter this asset. We are definitely in the layer 1 meta currently at this stage. We had Bear Chain pumping, we had IP Story pumping as well, we have Sonic pumping, and there is something else. There is something of a lower market cap, which is also layer 1, which I think is actually has definitely very nice potential to be pumping further, that we're going to talk about currently as well. The project has launched Quai Network. The project was launched just recently, pretty much several days ago, and it was dumping hugely on the launch, mainly because there was some fight from VCs because the project was not listed on tier 1 exchanges, just tier 2 and tier 3. But then after the launch, it actually did 7x's almost. From 0.07 to 0.35, even 36, which is exactly 7x's. Main reasons for this type of price action were actually the fact that the team announced that they have 1 year lockup period, which means that the team and VCs, they won't be able to dump the coin, and essentially the market cap was quite low as well. If you think about that, 7x before, the market cap of this thing was less than $20 million, which is definitely low for any layer 1s. And layer 1s, they are definitely getting a beat at this stage. Unique selling proposition of this thing is that it actually can process 50,000 transactions a second with very small fees of less than $0.01. It's also EVM compatible, so it's definitely quite nice for the market out there. As we can also see, Quai is also at the top of the mindshare. And memes, they kind of told us that everything is rugged and we should not be trusting VC coins. However, we are coming back to utility. And if you think about utility, the best utility coins out there, the best utility projects, I would say the coins that associate the most with utility out there, they are definitely layer 1s. And that's why we definitely, we are in the run of these layer 1s at this stage. We have, as mentioned, we have Bera, Sonic, IP, Quai. It's almost like new launches of layer 1s. They're just coming into the market and they're not doing very badly. Most of them, they're just pumping to certain levels to give some option to make money for people in the marketplace. Again, this thing just did 7x in the last several days. Imagine you would sell everything that you have and just put everything into Quai and received it 7x, right? And everyone is crying on the marketplace, everyone is hurt, but you would be victorious, right? Right now we have to talk about unpleasant things on the marketplace. There is a platform called Ox.fun, which is an exchange, a centralized exchange where you can actually long and short meme coins, right? This was the unique selling proposition of this thing. It was actually launched by the previous guys from 3AC Capital that pretty much rocked the fund in the end of the last cycle. They didn't return money to the investors, and the main guy behind this thing actually went to jail as well. And it seems like the situation is actually repeating currently at this stage. The main fact, I actually know some guys that are quite close to the person who got $1 million blocked, freezed by this exchange. So I know some insights that I would actually be able to tell you about this thing as well. From my point of view, it's actually quite interesting that we are definitely in the period of time where exchanges are getting rocked, or essentially they're getting hacked at this stage, right? And as mentioned, if Ethereum goes up from here, despite the fact that Bybit already announced that they replenished the amount of Ethereum they have, I do believe they will still be hurt on the fact that they would still need to pay out loans if Ethereum would essentially be going higher from here. But we're talking about OX right now, so let's focus on OX. Right now, this crypto exchange is actually down to $1.7 million in asset, which is definitely low. Usually just means that a bunch of people actually withdrew the assets, and there are rumors on the street that asset actually freezed, so withdrawals actually freezed at this stage. And there are even rumors that the real amount of funds that they actually have left in the exchange is $180,000. So how this whole thing started? One guy just pushed $1 million on the exchange, just transferred it onto the exchange. And exchange just freezed this money. They were sending them private messages for 2 weeks. I know this because I have insights. For 2 weeks, they were sending the private messages. There was no response, just default support, like you violated the terms of services and things like that. And then what essentially happened, they decided to make the situation public. So they started to tell publicly people about this. They tagged the founders of the exchange as well. There was some very weird responses, like chief financial officer just telling the guy to fuck off, exchange saying you actually damaged the reputation of the exchange socially, so we will only give you $1 million back if you would be shilling our exchange for 5 months. Absolutely insane, right? And situation is still pending at this stage. People are even joking that finally they decided they will return 1 million bucks. But people are joking at this stage, guys, don't do it anyway. Like, the situation is damaged. Like, you pretty much killed your reputation, your company already. There is no reason for you to be returning this 1 million bucks at this stage. Let's dive into some details about this situation and figure out how you should be. Position yourself and moving into this space, right? These are the current assets of the company, most of which are essentially USDC and their own coin, which is kind of worthless or going to be worthless, right? And once they would give out this 1 million, they would even have less money. And this is the guy essentially talking in private to the CEO of the exchange. This one is absolutely insane. I'm willing to work with you. I can get whatever pause taken down and a public statement confirming everything is good as long as we have a solution that is fair. What the CEO of the exchange actually offers? 1. Released 200 USD a month for 5 months. First payment starts after public statement confirming everything is good. This is essentially exchange giving back the money of the person, his own money, right? So these are the conditions by the exchange to give money that the person actually owns, that transferred money to the exchange, to give them back. The money that the person actually owns, it's his money in the first place, right? This is insane. Imagine the president, like, you're trying to grow the exchange, you're trying to make it bigger. You finally have some whales depositing funds on your exchange. What you're doing, you're freezing them and you're making a public case. It's so fucking stupid. Number 2, continued promotion of Ox.fun by Jeff Edawa and all large accounts who retweeted it on daily basis. These are the conditions by the CEO of Ox.fun to return $1 million worth of funds deposited by the customer, by the user of the exchange, in order to return these funds. And they're not even saying to return these funds right away. They're saying that we will be returning these funds to 100K a month for 5 months. My counter offer is you send 1 million bucks back in full and we'll post that the issue is resolved and delete the original post calling you out. I'm not getting blackmailed to get my funds back. If you don't return the funds by 12 p.m. EST tomorrow, 12 hours from now, we are posting this screenshot that you guys are extorting me to get my funds back on even bigger accounts. Plus, we will take further undisclosed action. We both know that if we were to post the screenshot extorting me, it would make you guys look insane. Thank you. You acted maliciously to exploit the platform explicitly against the terms and conditions. Thus, your funds belong to the platform now, and if this negotiation breaks down, we will distribute them to other users. You have now acted maliciously on social media as well. The both terms are good for the next 24 hours. 4 hours and 20 minutes. This is just a joke that a guy essentially made about, like, I think it's about like smoking weed in the US and stuff, right? So, quite funny. I'm not sure like what type of thing in terms of terms and conditions this guy actually broke, but yeah, this situation is insane. It's insane. And the issue with these type of things is that as more we go into more bearish setup, more and more companies in this space will essentially be flopping, because effectively this space is dead. No one is making money. Very few people are making money when nothing is happening in this space. And nothing is happening in this space when the most money were robbed already, right? And we're definitely in a situation where a lot of money were robbed by extractors and by people that know well how to rob in this space. So I would say to at least be careful. Quite a crazy situation if you would ask me. Let's see how it will go. I would say like initially, because like with Ox.fun, it was quite a crazy concept, and there are just some reasons of why certain concepts, they don't work in the first place, right? No one was doing this thing. Like what they were doing, they were essentially taking lower market cap memes and they were listing them for leverage longs and leverage shorts. The reason I think no one is actually doing that is because there is so much manipulation that can be happening. It's like you're starting to play against the team of the project once you're doing something like this. And you have to provide liquidity for longs and shorts as well, which is, yeah, it's definitely a tough game to be able to win out there. I would say like it only can work if all of the memes that you are listing are actually your own memes. So you control the supply, but it's tough in the first place, because then it's essentially hard for you to figure out like what will be happening with the price and whether or not these people will essentially farm you. And that's why I think if we are receiving any news in terms of the futures listings, perps listings on memes for Binance, everyone is bearish because Binance is essentially doing it in order to just short the whole thing and dump the price. And then depending on the relevancy of the meme and the price action in the market, they figure out if they want to buy back some at the lows and pump on spot, or if they just want to let this thing die out there, right? And effectively what they're doing by acquiring this amount of supply, they're essentially becoming the team of the meme, right? And we all know the situation that happened with Nero back in September and August, when Nero team, the original Nero, they essentially farmed Binance heavily. So they figure out that they will have the deal in terms of the listing of Nero on perps. They dumped heavily into the listing. Then the news became public. Obviously, they longed heavily before the news. And they probably farmed like tens of millions of dollars from the liquidity providers on Binance, which essentially resulted in the fact that Binance used their own Chinese cabal Nero, bought out the supply on that one and pushed that one to billion. Just kind of in the attempt to probably bash on the people that robbed them. But I think these guys, they took tens of millions of dollars already, so it's definitely fine for them. So guys, some precaution. We have to be careful with this one as well. All this good stuff most likely will essentially be losing money. This is a new thing. Most of new launches in the current state of the market, I would say they would be rugs. We definitely have a bunch of ruggers out there. The meme is Captain. I don't know anything about this thing. Like, I just seen it somewhere like shared with one of the chats. I like the concept, so I bought some. I'm actually slightly down on this thing at this stage. The things I liked is that it has low liquidity and nice market cap ratio, which means that it should be easier to pump. At the same time, I've seen that I was farmed when I essentially bought into this thing. Like I got dumps on me like right away, the same second. People essentially dumped me, and some of them, they were essentially farming bots out there. So in some cases, these things that have been farmed for infinity. In some cases, the funds that are being farmed, they used to pump the product further, the meme further. So it's quite hard to determine at this stage. The narrative of this thing is that essentially this thing is the mascot on ETH Denver at this stage. And on the last ETH Denver, Vitalik actually appeared on stage dressing as the mascot of that ETH Denver. So I would say this is the bull case for this coin out there. I do think that Vitalik appearance on the conference is going to happen tomorrow. So there's also like a very, very short, I would say, invalidation in terms of this thing. Although ETH Denver is going to be present for at least, I think, till the start of March. So some days from now. So maybe it will give some time for this thing to wake up. So this is something I just wanted to share, something I just recently gambled on myself. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will be seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.